anything that's taxpayer funded, whether it's local councils, whether it's our hospitals, our NHS, education, central government, there should be value for money. And I'm sorry, but when you see presenters getting, £500,000 plus a year, I've got nothing against that, but it shouldn't be taxpayer funded. This should be working for the stations where it's whether funded by advertisements or whatever, but it should not be taxpayers funded. To me, there's a better way to actually to spend taxpayers' hard-earned cash, and it's certainly not on, giving Gary Lineker a mouthpiece. I think we need to look at the model in this day and age. I mean, I remember when Channel 4 was launched, when I was a child, and the excitement over that in the 80s. But look how things have changed since then. And I mean, my 3-year-old Clifford, he watches his children's programs on Netflix. We subscribe to Amazon Prime, and he watches stuff. There's even on my phone, which he grabs, is a YouTube app for children. And so there's so many media platforms now, and not everybody is going to the old tried and tested way of sitting in front of the box. Now, I'm mindful that that we've got older people in the country who still rely on those main 4 channels, and so I do think there needs to be a service offered. But what's wrong with putting advertisements on? There's advertisements on every other channel now. Why not the BBC? That shouldn't be a crime. That should not be seen as a bad thing, especially if it's going to be, if it could fund the BBC and it stops our British taxpayers, being carted off to prison for not paying £100.
Despite that, the BBC took the decision to slap the licence fee
No.
onto the over 75s. What did you make of that decision?
I mean, I'm a bit disgusted in Tony Hall. I mean, he negotiated with the government in the first place, and he has so backtracked. We need to remind people that he's done this, rather than blaming the government. Blame the BBC over this and him. And I just think it's so wrong. I mean, looking at the stats as well, looking at the wider scheme of things, 1 in 10 cases heard at magistrates' courts in England and Wales is to do with non-payment of the licence fee. I mean, what a waste of taxpayers' money. So it filters down into that as well and causes backlogs with other cases. So to me, we need to catch the real criminals, not for people who's actually maybe can't even afford to pay it. We need to have this conversation, and we need to have it now. We're in a global recession through COVID. Every single penny of taxpayer money matters, really. And I'm sure the general public, if it was put to the general public, they would much rather pay for extra money on the frontline services during this time, hospitals, education, etc., than they would paying £500,000 for a presenter.